The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey everybody, CamiBaker.com here. Super excited to welcome you to the Happiness Jungle TV show, where it is always happy, even if it is a jungle. And today we are having a new friend of mine, Tom Hibert, on. And a couple of months ago, I was down in South Florida, and another good friend of mine, Georgene, who is the ultimate networker and has books about it and has been for a good 30, 40 years, introduced me to this fine gentleman at dinner one night. Come to find out, they're sidekicks down there and running all kinds of networking organizations and meeting and mingling and matching people up. So I asked Tommy if he would be on the show with us, and here he is. So Tommy, welcome to the Happiness Jungle TV show. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much, Cami. I went ahead and I used to run, I still do, run a company called SoFlo Networks, which is a networking company. We do networking events from Palm Beach Gardens all the way down to Fort Lauderdale. And from that, I've now created a networking app to help business owners build and create their networks. And we're basing this off of networks that are not just local, but anywhere in the United States. So like how me and you are starting to connect now, we met face to face, but you wouldn't have to do that as much as you do, you don't have to do that anymore with all the technology that's out there. And I'm just trying to bring everything together.
Yummy. Well, I want to hear a lot more about that because we haven't talked about that much. And, you know, as a connector myself, I'm always looking for new technology that can make my life easier and make my clients' lives easier. And obviously our viewers here on the TV show. So let's jump right into that. Tell me, how does it work?
Well, it's very simple. First of all, just to start, we are getting ready to launch this as a beta, where we're going to allow people to join in for free. We're not going to be charging anything. When we do charge, it's only going to be about $4.99 a month, with a lot of services still for free. But essentially what it is we always talk about circles, the circles around us, the circles of influence. And what we're trying to do is, and when we go to networking events in person, we're trying to meet people to connect our networks together so that we can build a relationship with each other. So what we've done is we've taken the local networking events and we found out what's worked. I've done it now for years, so I understand the key parts of networking, and we're actually giving a user the ability to create their own event. But instead of it just being a random event allowing just random business owners, you can actually target the market you're trying to connect with. So for example, if you're a real estate attorney, you want to connect with real estate agents, you want to connect with mortgage brokers, you want to connect with builders and people in the plumbing and all the service industries. You can target those people directly and actually meet people you've never met before in that space. And you can target the location. So if you are a business that is like a restaurant, you really can only target your local business because people on the other side of the state can't come to your restaurant. But if you're a real estate agent, you can connect with people all throughout the state of Florida or whatever state you're in. I'm in Florida. And that's really the big thing that I want to try and bring forward and bring out for people to know and understand.
So give me an example, like when you say that you can connect with other people, are you talking about actually having a way to connect with them and then go meet physically, or actually connect in like a Zoom type of thing? And give us a differentiator between your app and your system versus just going on LinkedIn and finding 10 realtors and inviting them to come on Zoom with you, that type of thing.
That is a phenomenal question, and it's in multi-steps. So I'm going to explain it in general. So what we're going to do is we've connected the video conferencing technology along with meeting people together. So what it will do is you'll actually be able to, on our app, you'll be able to actually create an app, market it out to those people, and be able to talk with them face to face through your phone, using your camera and everything else. So you're actually having a full-on conversation. The other parts of it is, like you said, the difference between LinkedIn and just asking people. You can do that, but what happens is that there's a lot of processes involved in doing that. So first of all, you got to find the people on LinkedIn. Then you got to make sure. Then you got to go ahead and send them out the link, and then you connect to them. Oh, is this working? Is that working? And what we did was we put everything all together. So just by joining the U-Network community, we allow you to connect with each other in a one-on-one space through the networking events, or you can search industries and types of people, and you can add them as a friend, let's say. And now, let's say me and you, Cami, go ahead and link up, and I'm sure we're going to on U-Network. Now I have a direct line of communication, because one of the biggest failures that happens in networking events is what I like to call the F word of networking, and that's follow-up. Most people do not follow up whatsoever. This allows you to actually have them in your phone, in your contact list. You can hit a button and you're making a call to them. You're hitting another button, you're doing a video call with them. You can schedule a meeting with them. If they're local, you can schedule a meeting with them face to face. And all at the same time, you're not giving out your phone number, you're not giving out your email address unless you want to. We allow for messaging to happen, and we give you the ability to be able to network with a bunch of people without having the risk of, oh my God, my phone number's out here again. My email out, I'm getting spammed with all these different emails. We try to control that and make it for you to control your networks.
Well, the beauty of this conversation is we didn't even preface it. When you said, that's a great question, I thought, I know, because I would be your perfect client for this. And so I'm going to ask you the questions that your perfect client would be asking you if you had the opportunity. So you're basically giving me a sales presentation and everybody gets to hear it. So another question that I have as one of your perfect clients, that's a little bit of an elevated question from the perspective of understanding joint venturing and affiliate marketing. As you are building this beta concept and it's free for people, we have so many apps and we're invited to join so many groups and we're already overwhelmed with referral, this, that, and the other thing. Is there going to be some kind of an affiliate so that we know as we're building our network while it's free, that in 6 months when we've got 1,000 people on there, that we're going to get a percentage of what they pay for their monthly fee?
Explain that.
So affiliate marketing. So what is my my incentive to be out helping you build your network and tell people about it?
Well, the incentive isn't so much about building my network. This is not about me. This is about the users in general. So affiliate marketing is great when you're trying to build a team of things together and everything else. What we wanted to do is we wanted to make a cost-effective way for people to network and grow. Like I mentioned before, the cost that we're talking about is literally about $5 a month. And it's only for specific things that we have. We're creating that plan based off of the use of the users. We are not trying to make $1 million off of one person. The idea of this is to build this network up together and create something that is beneficial for everybody all throughout the U.S. So the affiliate marketing side, we are not doing that, but we're also keeping the costs low so that there would be really no reason for you not to join up and everything else. Now, everybody that's through our beta test, we will have special offers and we'll have special gifts to thank them as being a part of the beta program to help build the network. But all that stuff is all it's all fluid right now.
Well, let's talk about Tommy a little bit and understand, you mentioned that you've been doing a lot of networking over the years and that you've already figured out what works and what doesn't work. And when you said the big F, I feel like there is an epidemic of people hundreds of thousands, dare I say millions of people that go out networking that just don't know what they're doing, and they throw a bunch of cards out, they grab a bunch of cards, but when it comes to the big F, they don't know how to follow up and follow through, and they're scared to death to do that. So talk to us a little bit about your history and why you've been doing so much networking and what brings you to this point of wanting to create this app.
Absolutely. So I originally started my networking company based off of the fact that I was selling insurance. I was selling insurance. I was selling securities. I was securities licensed, and I was just trying to meet more people. When I went to these networking events, they, for all intents and purposes, sucked. I hated going to them because a lot of times the person that was creating the event was trying to just get their point across, just trying to push their message, and it was not about the attendees. So what I did was I created events that thrived off of people understanding what networking is. I would always spend about 5 to 10 minutes explaining how networking is successful, how networking works, and pushing the follow up and follow through on things. The other part that I did was I made sure, that especially in the beginning, that I sat down, either whether it's over the phone, over the internet, or in person for a cup of coffee, with every single person that I came across. I didn't care if it was at my event. I didn't care if it was at another event. We met for dinner, and you got a phone call from me and an email almost right away, because that's what networking is all about. Now, you mentioned before that there's so many people out there that either don't know what they're doing or they're scared to do it, right? I think the biggest problem that people face when it comes to networking is they don't understand what they're trying to accomplish. They understand the goal that they have. I don't have enough clients. I need to meet more people. They don't understand that when you go to a networking event, the networking event isn't the place to get the clients. Networking events are there to build relationships with people that want to rant and rave about you, that want to go ahead and grow with you. Maybe you're finding people that are in a similar industry. Maybe you're finding people that are competitors, but guess what? They don't do exactly what you do. And maybe there's some synergy there. And people only look around, they go ahead and they pass out their business card, and they expect 20 phone calls the next day, expecting for their sales to jump off the roof. And essentially that just does not happen. You have to build those relationships.
You know, I hear people say all the time, well, yeah, I went to that event, but it wasn't that great. I didn't have anything happen. So to your point, they're almost expecting instant gratification. If somebody doesn't buy their product or join their business or sign a contract right then and there, they feel like it wasn't of good use. And one of the things that I say is stop looking for leads and start planting your seeds.
Absolutely.
So that the seeds start to grow. And, when it comes to going out networking, I wrote the book on it, myself and George and so many others have written books about networking. But I really feel like at this point, kind of like what you're doing, when you're talking about, look, you don't have to go to all these networking events anymore. I've got this app, and you can actually target in and find the people that you want and just go straight to them and meet them. You know, with what I do with helping people with a cause to market themselves, I've been calling it lately how you can be a referral magnet by using your business as a force for good. Because instead of going to these, you go to a networking event, there's 30, 50, 100 people there that may or may not need you or your service. But when you know exactly who your key people are, to your point, if that real estate attorney wants to talk to realtors, how about using a cause as a way to market yourself and have a way to go talk to 500 of them a month if you want to? So both what you and I are doing are totally different, but very same in the mindset of stop wasting your time with random activity and let's start leveraging our time with planned strategy.
No, and that is 100%. I love the what's called stop searching for leads and start planting seeds, right?
Yeah.
I love that because that is a staple in, I've never used that term, but that is a staple in what I preach to everybody. I have had more success when I've spent the time to build the relationships. Let's look at the idea of the sales process. When somebody buys a product from you, they're buying from people they know, they like, they trust. Well, the same thing happens with referrals. And in fact, I would argue that people would have to know you more, that would have to like you more, that would have to trust you more in order to give you a referral.
No doubt.
So how do you do that? You give back into your community. When you plant a seed, you don't just put it in the ground and hope that it grows. You have to water it. You have to make sure it has the right amount of light. Well, the same thing happens in networking. You have to keep nurturing these people and giving value to everybody that you meet. A good example of this is there was a lady that I met about 2 years ago. She was selling real estate and working for a company called EXP. I had no real leads to give her at that point in time. We touched base, we talked every couple of months. We'd send each other an email randomly, just helping each other out. Now, in turn, 2 years later, I gave her a great lead that was a broker up in New York that ended up needing to change needing to join with her because of situations that he had. So he ended up joining with her, and it ended up being great. And she ended up connecting me with an attorney that actually helped me with this process of building this app. So it's never the instant gratification. Never going to find it in a networking event. And when you do, it's very, very, very rare.
Well, absolutely. And when you said that, that one of the reasons people don't have success is because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what the process is. I would also argue that one of the reasons why people don't have success is because they don't know how to present themselves in such a way that they are confident, that they are influential. They don't know what to say or how to say it. And so they end up coming off salesy or icky or wishy-washy or insincere and just all these different things. And so, one of the things I say about the cause marketing campaign is I'm basically tricking people into leaving that icky salesperson at home. And now you can show up authentically, because instead of showing up for the phone call, for the Facebook Live, for the networking event, for little Billy's soccer game, whatever, instead of showing up thinking, gosh, if somebody asks me what I do, how am I going to explain it? What's my 30-second elevator pitch? How can I squeeze in there what I do? And having all that craziness in our heads. Instead, when we have a cause that we're passionate about and there's something going on there. So I've been saying to people lately, when people ask you what you do, start thinking about what you are doing. What you're doing. Mm-hmm. So when they say, hey, what do you do? You know what? I'm so glad you asked, because I'm doing an antique car show and the proceeds go to the Live and Let Live farm, and we're looking for sponsors, and we're looking for cars, and we're looking for blah, blah, blah. And it just, it takes the icky salesiness out of it and takes the what do you do, the 30-second elevator pitch out of it, and lets them show up authentically. And then, to your point, when people actually like you, then when they say, well, that's so interesting what you're doing. Well, let me ask you, what do you do anyway? And when they ask you like that, now they actually care.
Well, that's exactly what I love, right? When that question that you mentioned before of how people they go in, they feel that they come off as salesy and stuff like that. A lot of times they don't understand why they are going to these events. What I try to do when I teach people how to actually network, I tell them, don't come up with an elevator pitch. Like you said, tell people what you're doing, not what you are, or not what you do. But also give them just a brief snippet. Hey, I go ahead and I create an app for networking. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be brilliant. But let me ask you, Cami, what do you do? Mm-hmm. What is it that you do? Because at the end of the day, when we're talking to the person across from us, people do love talking about themselves. And if you give them the open invitation to talk about themselves, and you're breaking that ice, you're breaking that barrier of that, because a lot of times what happens is people feel awkward stepping in and saying, I do this, I do that, I do this. And people feel awkward hearing it that way. But if you break the ice and you say, what do you do? Tell me everything you do. And then you ask follow-up questions about that. You ask information and actually listen to them. When it comes to you, they're going to listen to you.
I love this conversation because I think this is so beneficial for people watching to hear these perspectives about this, because like you said, when you put it back on their plate, people do want to talk about themselves. At the office, nobody's asking them what projects they're working on. At home, the husband or wife isn't asking them. Their kids don't care. So when you actually ask them, and not what do you do, but hey, tell me what projects you're working on right now. Hey, tell me something about you that has nothing to do with your work or where you're from. And when I ask people a question or make a statement like, hey, what's your favorite book? Or, hey, what brings you out tonight? What's your intention? Who are you looking for tonight? What are you looking to do tonight? What's your intention? When I ask them something that they're not expecting, here's what happens, Tommy. They stop, they look up, and they think. That means they're thinking. They're actually, as opposed to verbally vomiting that 30-second pitch that they've already practiced. Now they have to stop and think. And when you ask somebody, hey, tell me something about you that has nothing to do with your work or where you're from, now, 90% of the time, what happens is whatever they say to you is something that they're passionate about or something that really turns them on. Like, for example, well, I'm redoing a 68 Mustang, or my granddaughter's in a play and I'm creating her dress, or I'm writing a book that I've always wanted to write. So whatever it is that they tell you, what happens is now you've snapped them into reality. They're not in elevator pitch mode. They're in reality. They get a little rush of serotonin and dopamine. They actually feel good. They smile and start telling you about something that turns them on. And ultimately, psychologically, physically, you just made them feel good, and they're going to remember you for that. They're not thinking, wow, she made me feel good. But what they will think is, wow, I like that person. Like, that's a great conversation I just had with them. You didn't even say anything. You let them talk. And then when they've said all that stuff, now what you do can be more tailored to what they need, or now that you've heard a little bit about them. So I'm sure for you, for example, or for myself, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, and I'm a coach and a mentor and a business strategist. But if I say all that, it doesn't mean anything. If they don't have a group, they don't need to know that I'm a speaker. So we need to know what we can say to them to get them excited.
And on top of it, it all goes back to they know, they like, they trust. When you have that sense and you snap them, like you said, back to reality, all of a sudden you're having a conversation with a friend. You're having a conversation with somebody that is starting that first conversation, that icebreaker. And you've broken it literally just by asking them a simple question. And it just brings that process. And that's one of the things that I love the most about networking, because I have found so many partners, so many people that are not directly linked to my business, but that are champions for me, people that want to spread my word around, people that want to, and I want to do the same for them. Because this are friendships, these are relationships that I now have, and not just me, but together as the network that is spreading around. So like, if I don't do anything on social media, I'll get a phone call from at least one or two people. Hey, what's going on? What are you doing? Just because they know if I'm quiet, that means I'm working on something. It's pretty amazing.
Well, I love this conversation because I'm going to a networking event later on today, and it gets me reinvigorated about actually wanting to go. And years ago, I was going to change my word from network to net play, but I found out somebody had already trademarked that word. So I call it net webbing. So instead of networking, net webbing, just because the word network tends to bring up fear in so many people. But I like how you tell people, don't go out there looking to, in my words, looking to find leads, but plant your seeds. But when you can go out to an event and not have that inner pressure of, I got bills to pay, I got to get a client, I got to get leads. When you can leave that at the door and just show up as yourself and just think, I wonder who I'm going to meet. I wonder if I'm going to make a new best friend. I wonder if I'll meet someone who has a new restaurant, has food I've never tasted, or, just go in with more of an awe and wonder. It changes how you feel about yourself, about the situation. I'm excited to go out again tonight now that we've had this conversation.
Well, isn't that one of the biggest things that salespeople in general have a problem with? They get so concerned with, I need that sale, I need this, I need that, and they never think about what the other needs are of the other people. And if they keep filling that pipeline, they keep going to events, they keep meeting people, they keep asking, because once you build these relationships, you can go back a couple weeks later and say, hey, I have this. Do you know anybody? And then go back again a month later, and it's what's called, I need your help. You can ask that question to people because now they know, they trust you, and they want to help you. And like you said, it's huge.
I have another friend, John Melton, who actually, he and his wife have now been featured on one of the lists online of one of the top income earners in network marketing of all time. God bless them. They're like 40 years old, massively successful. But he calls it commission breath. When you're desperate for a sale and when you're talking to somebody, you've got commission breath and they can just smell it on you and it just reeks off of you. So, stop.
People just scatter.
Yeah. Well, it's like my analogy with when you're throwing all those cards out and you're throwing the cards out, it's really quite repelling. And it's like being a skunk. You're spraying and praying and you're a skunk. And then there's the other people grabbing up all the cards. Give me your card. Let me grab a card, and grab cards off all the tables. And those are the squirrels. They leave squirreling the cards away. And then the people, dun, 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 try my product, join my business, sign my contract, the aggressive, assertive sharks. And so that with netwebbing, we learn to become a spider. So, Tommy, we have got 58 seconds left. Tell us what you want everyone to leave with when they think about you and when they think about networking and your network.
The biggest thing is UNetwork is all about building and developing your networks. Right now we're going to be launching our beta program very, very shortly. You can find out, we have a promo video on facebook.com/UNetwork. It's going to give you a lot more information and the ability to sign up, give us your name and email address, and we'll let you know as soon as it's ready to go. And we're going to be all set, and there you are. Nice.
Well, everybody can see on the screen the name and how to spell it. I highly recommend that you grab a hold of Tommy on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on UNetwork. CamiBaker.com here. Super excited to be part of the Happiness Jungle and have yet another powerful and inspirational person on with us. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.